Absheni, Mina Dennis Nkabela. For those who do not understand Zanga, my name is Dennis Nkabela and this is 21 Questions, a series that we have created to give you the inside scoop into the lives of our industry heads. So tune in to see our next interview. Hi guys, welcome to 21 Questions. It's a special with Musa Kalenga. This will be based on the interview chat he did with Bizcommunity, unpacking Biz Trends for this year. So, hi Mr. Musa, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
We're good.
Can I take off my mask now that I've disclaimed, so I'm safe? Those of you that wanted to post stuff on my timeline about me not being safe, this is the safety, but I'm not anywhere close to anybody, so at least you can hear me better.
Okay, so for starters, can you describe the digital marketing industry in 3 words?
In 3 words?
Yeah.
Fragmented, exciting, sometimes dodgy.
And how would you describe yourself in a hashtag?
Hashtag Ninja 1984.
Why 94?
1984. I was born in 1984.
Oh, okay. So that's your lucky number. Okay. Then what's your theme for 2021?
Expansion.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you think it's easy to do that in this industry? Or in the world, basically?
I think expansion is about your mindset. I think it's easy to do if you are prepared for it. Bob Marley sang the song about emancipating yourself from mental slavery, and that's what he was talking about. He was talking about expanding the way you think about stuff. So I think expansion is more about your internal drive and your mental disposition as opposed to the external world that you live in.
Okay, that's interesting. So mind power. Then what's the one thing people don't know about your career?
That I used to be a waiter at Penrotis Cresta, actually. That was kind of my first, one of my first gigs.
Did you get a lot of tips?
A hell of a lot of tips. I'm a service guy, so I made a lot of money, tax-free.
Wow. And then what's your best time of the day?
Morning, between 3:30 and 8.
So you don't sleep?
No, I do sleep. I just wake up early.
Favorite country to visit?
I quite enjoyed, my last visit was to Singapore. I quite enjoyed that. I would go back. I haven't been to Egypt, and I really look forward to going there. But in terms of where I've been already, I enjoyed Ireland. I spent some time there when I was working at Facebook. So Ireland was cool, and I love Malawi.
Would you pack up and go and live in Ireland?
No, it's too cold. It's too cold.
Quote you live by?
There's no sweet without sweat.
Interesting. Biggest surprise you've had in your career?
Biggest surprise? Maybe not a surprise, but there's actually no secret formula. A lot of people are looking for a silver bullet, right? So a lot of people are trying to fast track success. They're trying to, how do you hack your way to becoming whatever? And there is no hack. There's just, it's just consistency. There's just hard work, and there's just getting it done. But at some point it tips. At some point all of that becomes an asset. So you can do things a lot quicker, you can get stuff done, you can be very more productive. So I don't think it's like a surprise or anything like that, but I think that's been an interesting observation.
When did you know you've made it?
I don't know that I've made it yet. When I release a track that says, "Mama, I made it," then maybe
You've made it.
Yeah.
Digital or traditional advertising?
Both. I'm an integrated guy, so I believe in both. I think they both have different strengths, and I think they play a role. They still play a role, and I think they will always play a role. So I think both.
They're siblings. Most overused word in digital marketing?
Engagement. Or relevance, one of the two. It's toss up between
traction.
Engagement and attraction is also a contender.
Yeah. Which 3 people, living or dead, would you like to dine with?
I'd love to dine with Yuval Harari. He's a author who I think is quite an interesting mind, and he's written a lot of books about humanity. He studied a lot about history and the relationship between technology and humanity, so he's one. Michael Jackson would be interesting as someone to start and have dinner with. and Ray Dalio, also an author, but a bright mind.
Okay. What are you most proud about?
What am I most proud about? Right now, it's that my kids are going back to school. And they,
You don't have to, you don't have to see them every day in the house.
And we survived as a family through COVID-19 and homeschooling. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, it can actually work. You don't really have to go to work or school. You can do it from home.
Yeah.
Where do you see digital in 3 years?
Increased levels of automation. I think, if you think about programmatic and you think about what technology is doing, I think there'll be a lot about digital that will become fairly automated, which creates an amazing opportunity for us to use our brains better as marketers. So we're going to have to think about other things and critically engage with business problems and things like ethics and stuff like that. So I think that's where it's going to start ending up going.
What's your take on robots replacing humans?
I'm an augmentist, so I don't think it's a replacement. I think it is. So if we try and fight with robots, because they're better at doing repetitive things than we are, if we're going to try and fight with that, we won't win. Right? So I think it's important to kind of be clear that there are things that robots will always do better than human beings and be able to understand that and ring fence that. The question is, what else is there that human beings will be able to do? And if we gravitate towards doing those things more and better, I think then they can be an augmentation as opposed to one versus the other. Where we've got big problems is that we're not thinking about those things now. So industries like the hotel industry, manufacturing, those guys were caught with their pants down, for lack of a better word. So now they're faced with automation and robotics, and they haven't thought about it.
And they're trying to adapt.
Correct. So that's where the problem comes in.
Okay. Greatest achievement?
My kids and my family, actually. I'm grown, I think. I've got kids. I'm grown, but I still feel like I'm not grown. But my kids are wonderful. My daughter is just an amazing young woman, and it's interesting to watch her personality develop. And my son is his own character. So I use them to try and reflect myself. But they are really something I'm proud of.
Sweet. So you were part of the Biz Trends discussion yesterday. Firstly, was this your first time doing Biz Trends?
Yes, it was my first time on Biz Trends. I think I've contributed once or twice in the past, but I haven't actually been at the event, so this was quite cool. And I enjoyed it. It was actually a very refreshing discussion.
So what actually goes on? What do you guys talk about, and why is it such an important discussion?
Well, I think it's a bunch of clever people like Dion Chang and others that come together and try and speak about where the world is going. So we're at a reflection point now where fundamentally things have shifted and changed. So it's a collection of people that have got opinions on where the world is going, and they try and effectively frame up where they think opportunities may be for businesses, potential pitfalls, but ultimately trying to figure out how we go forward. And so Biz Trends really is a combination between trend spotting and developing a plan of action for people to use in their organizations and their businesses. My talk specifically was a bit more practical, so while I get the trends and I appreciate them, I try to be more pragmatic about what then, so this is a trend, Bitcoin or blockchain is a trend, what then, so I try and be more pragmatic. But there were really smart people talking about really clever things, and I think throughout the day it was interesting to also see some of the commentary and how people spoke about what they knew and what they didn't know, and how some of their paradigms were challenged, which I think is the important thing that every professional should be doing.
Sweet. Your predictions of digital trends this year?
This year, so I think one that I've already spoken about is programmatic was going to become more of a thing. I think specifically in industries like telco and retail, as we've seen, lockdown regulations have shifted buying patterns and buying behavior, so there's been a major uptake there. So I think programmatic is something that people need to watch out for. I think there'll be an acceleration in artificial intelligence in major corporates, simply because I think they're going to be faced with lots of information, lots of data, and not knowing what to do with it. So as they try and sense make, so if you think about a company like Discovery that went and bought this massive building in Sandton, with the prediction that they'll be there for 5, 10, 15 years, and now all of a sudden there's nobody in that building. Think about all the paradigms that were associated with them understanding what happened in that building. And now it no longer exists, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a doubling down on data and artificial intelligence to help big corporations understand that. But I also think there's going to be major opportunities for small entrants and new players, right? So as people die off, in inverted commas, so companies that don't survive, unfortunately, will create opportunities for new companies and new thinking and a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So I think if you're poised to try and make an impact or an entrance into the digital marketing space, I think observe some of the movements around companies that were there once upon a time and are no longer there. They may create gaps, or they may create some opportunities for you to think about.
Sweet. What would you say to someone who's trying to get into the digital industry? Someone still in college, someone trying to change careers?
I would say it's an interesting industry. So it's too broad, right? So I think understand as much as you can broadly, but pick a lane. Pick something that you're particularly interested in, and go down that rabbit hole. So you may be someone that is interested in performance marketing. So try and understand something tangible, so that when people look at you as an individual that they would like to employ, they're employing you for something. The challenge with digital and digital marketing is it's so broad, right? So you hire someone to be a digital marketer. The question is that on any given day, may have 100 different definitions as to what they actually do. So I think part of what someone should be thinking about as they enter the industry is what are the areas of specialization that they can look at and add value in. What are the industries of specialization? So if you think about brand building in pharmaceutical or digital, it's different to potentially brand building in mining, as an example. Some principles are the same, but if you specialize, you'll have a better chance of success. And if you think about the broad topics, as I mentioned before, cryptocurrency, programmatic buying, creativity, automation, robotics, if you pick a particular lane, it also allows you to focus your energy without getting flustered by everything that's always happening. So the influx of information and all of that kind of can be a little bit discouraging because it's a broad topic. But I'd say pick a lane and try and learn the basics so you've got a broad base of understanding.
Sweet. And that's it from us. 21 questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Cool.
Hope we get to have more interviews with you.
Sharp.
Thank you.